Hello friends, I welcome all of you. In this video, I'll give you an overview about basics of networking and we'll discuss some of the components which participate in the communication. First question is, what is a network? It is basically an arrangement of devices which ensure that endpoints are able to communicate with these servers or destination addresses. Now, what is an endpoint? So endpoint can be your host like workstations, laptop, desktop, your mobile phone, LED TV, cameras, any IoT. Okay, so what is the purpose of endpoint? It basically accesses internet or some services which are present on some other devices. Okay, so endpoint, you'll call these as host, and remember that any device that participates in networking should have an address. Okay, so address means an identity, just like my name, your name. Okay, so we use IP addresses. IP means internet protocol. It has two categories, IPv4 and IPv6. We'll talk about these at later stage. So first condition is that every device should have an IP address configured and it should be connected either using wireless or wired. Okay, so now you understood about the endpoints, right? So what are the servers? So servers are powerful workstations which will have certain applications installed. Like if I'm watching a YouTube video, it must be stored somewhere in the destination place. It can be in USA or Germany. Or if I am accessing Instagram or WhatsApp, there will be servers which will be responding to your request. Okay, and those will be having IP addresses configured, and these will be accessible from the network. We'll talk about some other components as well. So the examples of servers are SQL servers, database servers, app servers, storage, controllers. There are many type of servers depending upon the requirements. So other device, how now let's talk about how do we connect. We can connect wirelessly or using a cable. At our homes, we have Wi-Fi routers. So Wi-Fi router has capability of routing the traffic and also wirelessly emitting the signals so that the endpoints get connected. So all of the endpoints will have IP addresses, and router will also have the same IP address to build a network. Alright, the second way is that use a LAN cable. You may connect two workstations directly, like end to end, point to point, but only those two will be able to communicate. But if you want them to access internet, then you should have another device named switch. So what is switch? Switch is a device which will let multiple endpoints connect at the same time. It will just be like you have 20 workstations in your office and you want all of them to communicate with each other. You plug in the cables from workstation to switch or a hub. Hub also has multiple ports or interfaces. Okay, port is an interface here, but the hub is non-intelligent. Switch is an intelligent. We can configure, we can do some configurations to suit our requirements. Okay, you understood about hub. The problem with hub is that it has an issue of collisions. If there are 10 devices connected to a hub, the internal mechanism is like that the traffic of one host can collide with the traffic of another host. So it has a single collision domain. So traffic problem will be there, intermittent connectivity loss, delays, jitters. So this is a problem with the hub. But in a switch, there are multiple collision domains. So if there are 10 ports, 10 collision domains. So it will just be like you are, going to temple and there are multiple queues, and each queue has a separation so that other queue people, they don't collide with the other queues, right? So this is the benefit of switch, multiple collision domains. Both have single broadcast domains. Switch has by default one broadcast domain and hub has only one. Okay, so what is broadcast domain? Like 10 people are sitting in a room, 2 are talking to each other and 3 are having some different discussions. So all are hearing each other, right? So it's a kind of broadcast network. So in switches, we can create multiple broadcast domains, which are known as VLANs. Just understand this. Just giving you a very high level overview. So you understood about switch. These are for connecting people or users together. And this arrangement is known as local area network, LAN. Alright. Now let's talk about router. So router is a device which will let you connect with another network. The another network can be another LAN or internet or another layer 3 subnet. Okay, so if you have an office which has multiple VLAN, multiple buildings, so one building can have one LAN, another will have separate LAN, right? So they will have different networks. So you need to have a router which will let multiple networks communicate with each other. Okay, this is the first thing. Second thing is that it lets you reach to the destination with the best path. So it will apply its logic, intelligence, and divert the traffic to the best, shortest path. Alright. So this is router. Means it's a part of WAN, wide area network. If you want to access internet means what? It can be any destination, server or website which is hosted maybe in the same city or in different country. Like youtube.com, it has many servers which are there in almost all countries, right? So if you're accessing a server which is there in Germany, so your router will have the information about the Germany network, like how to reach that network. Either means it will refer its database known as routing table. It will find out the best path, next possible path. Means it will divert you to another router, and that router will further use its routing table to find out the best path. So because between two locations there can be hundreds of routers, right? So one router will not be able to know the exact best path. It just knows about the next best router. Okay, this is router. Now what is a firewall? Look at this diagram. I have just connected these these devices randomly. So these two workstations are connected to a switch, and this is connected to a router, and this is an ISP router, and this is the router at the destination end, and there is one more router. So there can be multiple switches, multiple routers. Alright, and then there is a firewall, which is a security device which will ensure that your traffic is secured, no hacker is able to access your internal network, because hacker can destroy and compromise your security and start demanding money, will give you financial losses. Alright, so there are advanced things in firewall, like you can create VPN, IPsec tunnels, which will be other advanced topics. So then there's a further switch. Okay, and I gave you one example of a server. Here I've taken the example of web server. So there are many types of servers. Outlook servers. You can host your own personal applications on your powerful machines or servers, right? And if you want to do some business, you want to host your own website on your own server. So network is essential. Whatever you do on the internet, you are using the network, and all of these devices are having IP addresses, and like switches are connecting the LANs, routers are connecting the WANs or multiple networks. Okay, we'll talk about the addressing at later stage. This is just a high level overview. All right, so one more information. Hub works in layer 1, that is physical layer. Switches, these switches, this one, it works in layer 2, data link layer. Okay, I talked about the IP addresses. There is one more address that is known as MAC address, or burnt in address, which is like a chassis number. It'll be 48-bit engraved into the device itself. It's a unique in the world. No two devices can have same MAC address. Okay, so IP addresses can be changed. Like today I am having one IP, tomorrow I can change it to another one, but the MAC addresses, these will remain with me. But we use IP addresses to communicate because these are easy to remember. All right, so switches work in the layer 2, routers work in the layer 3. We'll talk about the OSI model at later stage. Understand that. Okay, so I hope it's been informative to you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day.